Okay, and views. Okay, so are there any questions from, sorry, the reading Charitamrita Adi Lila chapter 5, continuing to discuss text 22. Are there any questions from last week on what we covered? No? Okay. All right. So I think we just finished. The residents of Vaikuntha have brilliantly black complexions. We're supposed to read from in the Vaikuntha's there are airplanes. Does everybody agree with that? This is the last paragraph on the third page of the purport.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So does everybody have that? In the Vaikuntha's there are airplanes.
Yes,
I have it, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Okay. As long as everybody has it. Good. All right. So then somebody please read this.
Can I start it, Prabhuji?
Go ahead, please. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In the Vaikuntha's, there are aeroplanes, but they make no turbulence sound. Material aeroplanes are not at all safe. They can fall down and crash at any time. For matter is imperfect in every respect. In the spiritual sky, however, the aeroplanes are also spiritual, and they are spiritually brilliant and bright. These aeroplanes do not fly business executives, politicians, or planning commissions as passengers, nor do they carry cargo or postal bags, for these are all unknown there. These planes are for pleasure trips only, and the residents of Vaikuntha fly in them with their heavily beautiful fairy-like consorts. Therefore, these aeroplanes full of residents of Vaikuntha, both male and female, increase the beauty of the spiritual sky. We cannot imagine how beautiful they are, but their beauty may be compared to the clouds in the sky, accompanied by silver branches of electric lightning. The spiritual sky of Vaikuntha Lok is always decorated in this way.
Yeah, thank you. So in the Vaikuntha planets, the spiritual world, the airplanes don't make any sound because they're not working on mechanical engines. Do you know how they're powered? The planes in the spiritual world, even the demigods?
By mantras.
By mantras, exactly. So therefore, there's no sound. And because they are spiritual, they can increase or decrease their size at the command of the owner. We know that Pushpak Viman, who was using that? Pushpak?
It was Kuber's, but Ravan was using.
No, but at the end of the story, who's using it?
Vibhishan gave it to Ramji.
Lord Ram, yes. So he flew in from Sri Lanka to Ayodhya in that plane. And we know from the story also that initially there was just the soldiers, the monkey soldiers and the bear soldiers. But on the way, they flew over Kishkinda, and Mother Sita said, let's take their families also. So all the families of all the soldiers, they joined in, and the size of the plane increased accordingly to accommodate everybody, and they all showed up. They flew into Ayodhya. So these are the planes that we're talking about here in this paragraph. And they're basically saying that because there's no material business there, this place is used only for pleasure trips, along with their consorts by the residents of the spiritual world. Okay, next paragraph.
The full opulence of the internal potency of Godhead is always resplendent in Vaikuntha Loka, where goddesses of fortune are ever increasingly attached to serving the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead. These goodnesses of fortune, accompanied by their friends, always create a festive atmosphere of transcendental mirth, always singing the glories of the Lord. They are not silent even for a moment. They are
Thank you.
unlimited.
Hold on. So let's do one paragraph at a time, please. Thank you. So here, one point to note is that they're all goddesses of fortune. So they have only one role. What does it say in Brahma Samhita? What the goddesses of fortune are doing?
Serving the
Singing-
lotus feet of the Lord.
That's
Narayana.
right.
Singing the glories.
They're seeing the glories, serving the lotus feet of the Lord. That's how they're doing. So everybody's focused on that. So therefore, it's always a festival atmosphere. I mean, as it is in India, we know that every few days there's festival. That's the way the culture is. So you can imagine the spiritual world every day is a festival. It says in Bhagavad Gita, Katha Jnanam Natyam Gamanapi. Everybody's always chanting the glories of the Lord. Nobody's walking, everybody's dancing. So it's a festival there every day. And there's never a moment of quiet because people are singing the glories of the Lord all the time. Okay, somebody wants to read the next paragraph?
Yes, Prabhuji. There
Go
are
ahead.
ultimate,
Sorry to interrupt, Prabhuji. Prabhuji,
there are
which one are we reading? Can you say, please?
There are unlimited Vaikuntha planets.
unlimited.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
There are unlimited Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual sky, and the ratio of these planets to the material planets in the material sky is 3:1. Thus, the poor materialist is busy making political adjustment on a planet that is most insignificant in God's creation. To say nothing of this planet Earth, the whole universe with innumerable planets throughout the galaxies is comparable to the single mustard seed in the bag full of mustard seeds in a bag full of mustard seeds. But the poor materialist makes plans to live comfortably here and thus waste his valuable human energy in something that is doomed to frustration. Instead of wasting his time with business speculation, he should seek to life of plain living and high spiritual thinking, and thus save himself from perpetual materialistic unrest. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Nice. Okay, so if you read the first line again, it says the ratio of these planets, Vaikuntha planets, to the material planets is 3:1. Does everybody understand that point? What does it mean?
Does it mean the spiritual sky is 3 times bigger than the material sky?
3 times the size of the material sky.
Yeah.
So everything is in the ratio of 3:1. So there are 3 times as many planets in the spiritual world as there are in the material world. So that's one point. The second point is that the Earth planet is a very insignificant part of the universe we live in. I don't know if anybody saw when the man landed on the moon, they took the picture of the Earth. And it looked like something between the size of a golf ball and a tennis ball. I hope everybody has seen a golf ball and a tennis ball. So from the moon alone, it looks that small. So imagine if you look at all the planets, and we are about Bhumandal only. Now we talked about 14 planetary systems, right? So Satyalok, where Lord Brahma lives, is the highest planet. So imagine how small Earth looks from there. And then our planet, our universe, the smallest universe among all the billions of universes. So we look from the spiritual world, how small does the Earth look? Saying the whole universe looks like a mustard seed. So that's insignificant by itself. And the Earth is so insignificant in that insignificant size of the universe. You can imagine how insignificant we are, and the Earth is. And Prabhupada is saying, in that insignificant Earth, materialists are making plans. We'll do this, we'll do that. It's a wonderful verse in Bhagavad Gita where materialists saying, I have to enjoy, I'm enjoying everything. I got this much now, tomorrow I'll have more. I'll kill all my competition, I'll have everything I need, etc., etc., etc. It's still, we're given the wealth of the entire world, it will still be insignificant. But we're fighting and dying for all that. So Krishna was saying this, that don't waste your time with all this business speculation. Serve the Lord, do the plain living and high spiritual thinking, meaning understanding that the Lord's service, the Lord's love is the highest goal, and let's work to get that, as opposed to anything insignificant which would be lost anywhere at the time of death, if not before. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay, somebody read the next paragraph, please.
I can read, Prabhu.
I will.
Please go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. Even if a materialist wants to enjoy developed material facilities, he can transfer himself to planets where he can experience material pleasures much more advanced than those available on Earth. The best plan is to prepare oneself to return to the spiritual sky after leaving the body. However, if one is intent on enjoying material facilities, one can transfer himself to other planets in the material sky by utilizing yogic powers. The playful spaceships of the astronauts are but childish entertainments and are of no use for this purpose. The Ashtanga Yoga system is a materialistic art of controlling air by transferring it from the stomach to the navel, from the navel to the heart, and from the heart to the collarbone, and from there to the eyeballs, from there to the cerebellum, and from there to any desired planet. Wow. The velocities of air and light are taken into consideration by the material scientist, but he has no information of the velocity of the mind and intelligence. We have some limited experience of the velocity of the mind because in a moment we can transfer our minds to places hundreds of thousands of miles away. Intelligence is even finer. Finer than intelligence is the soul, which is not matter like mind and intelligence, but is spirit or antimatter. The soul is hundreds of thousands of times finer and more powerful than intelligence. We can thus only imagine the velocity of the soul in its traveling from one planet to another. Needless to say, the soul travels by its own strength and not with the help of any kind of material vehicle.
Haribol.
Haribol.
This is good, very good paragraph. Okay, so once again, we're talking about how much materialist struggles to go to a very close planet, the moon. And then we start talking about moving to further away planets, Mars and Jupiter and all that, then all sorts of problems come in the below. Have to worry about the existence of the air, the gravity, all sorts of things. But they have to worry about all that because they're dealing with matter. We're dealing with something subtle, which is not gross. There's no concept of weight. So therefore, the velocity is not impeded by anything like gravity or presence of the air or water or anything like that. Therefore, it can move very fast. We was talking about three subtle elements here: mind, false ego, mind, intelligence, and soul. And the point is that we know how fast the mind can move. Right? Everybody agrees? The mind moves very fast. The intelligence moves even faster. Like says hundreds of times faster. And the soul is even more powerful and finer, so it can move even faster than that. That's why it can travel the distance between wherever on planet Earth we are. When the soul leaves the body, it can go to any of these other planets very, very quickly. And How is the soul carried to even another body? Does anybody remember? What carries the soul to another body? Who remembers?
The
Human
consciousness.
buddhi ahankar. Yeah.
Sorry, Anand? No?
Yeah, mind, intelligence, false ego, along with all those samskaras
Subtle body.
carried from one body to another.
The subtle body, consisting of mind, intelligence, false ego, carries the soul to another body. They're all three are fine elements. They're not gross. They're subtle. And so they're able to carry it. But when the body gets rid of even the subtle body, the soul gets rid of the subtle body, then can move even faster. And that's the point being made here. Any materialist using any material thing, not even imagine those kind of speeds. Okay. Next paragraph. You want it?
I can read.
Please go ahead.
The bestial civilization of eating, sleeping, fearing, and sense gratifying has misled modern man into forgiving how powerful a soul he has. As we have already described, the soul is a spiritual spark, many, many times more illuminating, dazzling, and powerful than the sun, moon, or electricity. Human life is spoiled when man does not realize his real identity with his soul. Lord Chaitanya appeared with Lord Nityanand to save man from this type of misleading civilization. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Okay, so we, the humans, have adopted to the animal civilization very nicely. The four things that the animals do: eating, sleeping, mating, and biting, or fearing, I should say. The animals can do it better than us, but still we have adopted to that. And therefore, we've forgotten our real identity. And we've definitely forgotten the purpose of our life. We think sense enjoyment is the purpose of the life. Even the very educated, highly educated people think that, and they focus on that. But here we are being told that no, as a human being, we have to distinguish ourselves from the animals. So when you are simply sleeping, eating, fearing, and enjoying platform, your animal platform. So how do we move from animal platform to the human platform?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Shall
When we are, following the religious principle or keeping God in the center, Prabhu. When God is there, only then.
Okay. Is there anything more than that? Something little more.
By following the instructions of the scriptures, Prabhuji, and
No, Prabhu, that you are getting to devotee level. It's before that.
Isn't it following the four regulative principles?
More than that. It's called varnashram.
Mm-hmm.
When you start following the varnashram system, they're not human level. It's the varnashram system designed for humans. You have the four classes, you have four statuses, and they each have their own duties, and that's the human level. But you can rise above the human level also. That is a devotee level, and that's where all the four relative principles and the scriptures and performing devotional service, etc., comes in. Then you realize that you're actually spirit, soul, not body. Varnashram, you still may not realize that, and that your purpose of your life is to serve the Lord, to develop the love of Krishna in your heart. Okay, so that's the devotee level above the human level. Is everybody clear on that?
yes, Prabhuji, very clear.
Okay,
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So the demigods, they're not at the devotee level,
No, they're not.
but they're above the human level?
Not pure devotee. They're not pure.
Okay.
They're devotees, no question about it. And they're better humans than us. But
Okay.
but they are not pure devotees. They are called Sakam Bhaktas. They're still into sense enjoyment. That's their main purpose. They go to Krishna only when they're in trouble. So the devotees that way.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Next paragraph.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Usha, Hare
But
Krishna.
yeah. So Prabhu, so but they have more. They are better than human beings, and they are not doing the karmic activities. Do they?
They're not? Who said that?
I don't know.
Well, okay, then I'm telling you, they're doing yajnas all the time. They're having fun all the time. They're fighting. They're cursing.
They're cursing, yes, for
They're
sure.
blessing. You name it, they're doing it. They're better than us, but not pure devotees. So remember, who becomes a demigod? If you're a
Who
human
has
being,
good
how do you
fruitive
become?
activities? I mean, who have good karmas and accumulated all the good karmas, and then they go
Okay.
on to the.
So performing
Always
5
austere and
sacrifices,
tapas.
it's all about self gratification still, then you become demigod. Right? You keep performing pious activities, such as 5 sacrifices, but all with the expectation of good results for you. Then you become eligible to become demigod. So you're still a human being who's just doing better than others. There's more mode of goodness, but lot more good mode of passion, but probably very little mode of goodness. It's still there, but not as much as many human beings.
Yes, Prabhuji, because the devotee who is giving more, they support.
That's correct. So actually, it is
Demigod.
said that the demigods pray to come as human beings on planet Earth in the Kali Yuga. Because then from there, it's so much easier to become Godhead. Okay? Gati, did I answer your question?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next paragraph, please.
Can I read, Prabhu? Yeah, I read, Prabhu.
Can I read, Prabhu?
One of you decide and do it.
Go ahead, Mataji, go ahead.
Srimad Bhagavatam also describes how yogis can travel to all the planets in the universe. When the vital force is lifted to the cerebellum, there is every chance that this force will burst out from the eyes, nose, ears, etc. As these are places that are known as the seventh orbit of the vital force. But the yogis can block these holes by complete suspension of air. The yogi then concentrate the vital force in the middle position, that is, between the eyebrows. At this position, the yogi can think of the planet to which he wants to go after leaving the body. He can then decide whether he wants to go to the abode of Krishna in the transcendental Venkutas, from which he will not be required to descend into the material world, or to travel to higher planets in the material universe. The perfect yogi is at liberty to do either.
Right. So basically, you become a yogi after all this trouble. And then if you decide to just go to another planet, who's a bigger fool than you? Especially when you have the option that you go to spiritual world, you can go to Krishna Loka. But that's possible only if you're a devotee, a pure devotee. So this is why Krishna in chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, text 46, I don't know if I can recall it completely, but something along the lines of कर्मेभ्य अधिको योगी ज्ञानेभ्यो अधिको मतः sorry tapasvibhyo अधिको योगी तस्मात् योगी भव अर्जुन. Krishna is saying to Arjun, this 646, just in case you go to look it up, chapter 6, text 46. Krishna is saying to Arjun that a yogi is better than the karmi, yogi is better than the jnani, yogi is better than tapasvi. Therefore, become a yogi. And then comes 647. 647.
Yeah.
Huh?
Jnani is better than karmis then.
No, 647. That was 646.
Yoginam api sarvesham
Exactly.
adgatenantara atmana shraddhavan bhajate yoma. No,
Yeah.
yoginam. Yeah, I forgot last.
Samayutta tamo mata. So Krishna is saying that the yogi, among all these yogis that we just talked about, Karma yogi, Jnana yogi,
Dhyan yoga.
Dhyan yogi, Bhakti yogi is better than all of them, especially the one who's focusing his mind and heart upon me. So Krishna said Bhakti yogi is supreme of all the yogis. So why not be that? It's like you take so much trouble and hard work and effort to meet the king of a country, and we meet him, we say, can I give me $5? Like, how stupid can you get? And that's the whole point. Okay, next paragraph, please.
Can I just share something, Babaji?
Sure.
Just because they're talking about, how we live in the body of 9 gates, right? And I was just listening to a lecture, and Maharaj is like, where else would there be a bird captured in a cage that has 9 gates and would not fly out? They would always want to fly out, except for us.
That's a good point, yeah. That's such a good
We're
point.
in these, and just with a yogi, like you become a yogi and now you have this extraordinary power and gift, and you so waste it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, who's going to read the next paragraph?
Can read, Prabhu.
I will read, Prabhuji. For the perfect yogi who has attained success in the method of living his body in perfect consciousness, transferring from one planet to another is as easy as an ordinary man's walking to the grocery store. As already discussed, the material body is just a covering of the spiritual soul. Mind and intelligence are the undercoverings, and the gross body of earth, water, air, and so on is the overcovering of the soul. As such, any advanced soul who has realized himself by the yogic process, who knows the relationship between matter and spirit, can leave the gross dress of the soul in a perfect order and as he desires. By the grace of God, we can complete freedom. We have complete freedom because the Lord is kind to us. We can live anywhere, either in the spiritual sky or in the material sky, upon whichever planet we desire. However, misuse of this freedom causes one to fall down into the material world and suffer the threefold miseries of conditioned life. The living of a miserable life in the material world by dint of the soul's choice is nicely illustrated by Milton in Paradise Lost. Similarly, by choice, the soul can regain paradise and return home back to God. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So again, same point is being made. A yogi has to work so hard to become perfect that he can go anywhere, as easy as you and I go to grocery store. And here's the choice. We can go to the spiritual world, or you can go to another planet, a higher planet, and enjoy life. Totally up to him. So if he chooses the spiritual world, great. Eternal life of happiness. If he chooses the material world, higher planet, temporary enjoyment. And you're back to same old set of miseries, an alternative of misery and happiness. So choose wisely, as they say. Okay, next one, please. Anybody wants to read it? Next one.
I will read it, Prabhuji.
Go ahead, Vijay.
At the critical time of death, one can place the vital force between the two eyebrows and decide where he wants to go. If he is reluctant to maintain any connection with the material world, he can, in less than a second, reach the transcendental Vaikuntha and appear there completely in a spiritual body, which will be suitable for him in the spiritual atmosphere. He has simply to desire to leave the material world, both in finer and in grosser forms, and then move the vital force to the topmost part of the skull and leave the body from the hole in the skull called Brahmarandra. This is easy for one perfect in the practice of yoga.
Right. So once again, same point being repeated, that you work so hard, now you have a choice. You want to go to spiritual world or you want to stick around here? And it's totally your choice. Krishna does not force you to make that choice. If you're smart, you pick Vaikuntha. If you're not so smart, you stay here. Okay, next paragraph, please.
I shall read, Prabhu.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
Of course, man is endowed with free will, and as such, if he does not want to free himself from the material world, he may enjoy the life of Brahmapada, occupation of the post of Brahma, and visit Siddhaloka, the planets of materially perfect beings, who have full capacities to control gravity, space, and time. To visit these higher planets in the material universe, one need not give up his mind and intelligence, finer matter, but need only
কি ব্যাপার
চাকরি পেলাম
বলো কি
Man
এই তো
gets
মেঘনা
up-
চাকরি ছিল।
Continue, please. Mahajan, no, continue.
Can't hear you, Prabhuji.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, Prabhuji, but I don't hear Mahajan Prabhu.
No, I think it's finished. It's on mute.
Oh, okay, okay, that's fine. Because the last line I couldn't hear.
Okay. No
Okay,
worries.
that's fine, Prabhuji, no problem.
Okay, thank you. So again, the same thing is being talked about. You can go to Brahma's post, but you're still in the material world. You can go to any of the other higher material universes, and but still in the material world. To go to the material world, anywhere in the material, you don't need to give up your subtle body, just the gross body. But to go to spiritual world, you will give up both material and gross and subtle body. That's the only difference. But still your decision. Antakalecha mamayevo isman utpakalevo. Right? Or next verse, yam yam wapisman bhavat tajatantakalevo. Your choice. When you think of Krishna at that time, or you think of something else. That's where you go. Okay. Next paragraph, please.
I can read, Prabhu.
Go ahead, please. Gopal.
Each and every planet has its particular atmosphere, and if one wants to travel to any particular planet within the material universe, one has to adapt his material body to the climatic condition of that planet. For instance, if one wants to go from India to Europe, where the climatic condition is different, one has to change his dress accordingly. Similarly, a complete change of body is necessary if one wants to go to the transcendental planets of Vaikuntha. However, if one wants to go to the higher material planets, he can keep his finer dress of kind, intelligence, and ego, but has to leave his gross dress body made of earth, water, fire, etc.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So once again, basically, same point being made again, that you have to have bodies suitable for the destination. Nice example is given from India, 45 degrees, to Europe, somewhere where it's only maybe 10 degrees. You need different clothes. For example, if you go to Heavenly Kingdom, you're given a body that's able to feel the enjoyment 100 times better than you are able to feel on earth. Similarly, if you're given a body to go to hell, you feel the pain 1,000 times more for the same hurt than we do on earth. So my point is, yeah, depending upon where you go, you have different kind of body. And that's why sometimes we talk about the aliens, but they don't necessarily look like human beings. They have a body corresponding to wherever they live. Okay. But then the point is, to go to spiritual world, you got to get rid of both subtle body and the gross body. But to go to higher planet, only the gross body. You can still keep a subtle body because you're still the material world. Okay. Next, please. There's a lot of repetition here. But anyway,
I
go ahead.
can read, Prabhu.
Go ahead, Aditi.
When one goes to a transcendental planet, it is necessary to change both the finer and gross bodies, for one has to reach the spiritual sky completely in a spiritual form. This change of dress will take place automatically at the time of death if one so desires.
Right. So again, same thing, but the point is being made is that you don't have to actually physically change your dress. It happens automatically, depending upon where you go. Next paragraph, please.
I can read, Prabhu.
Please go ahead, Ashoka.
The Bhagavad Gita confirms that one will attain his next material body according to his desires at the time he leaves his body. The desire of the mind carries the soul to a suitable atmosphere as the wind carries aromas from one place to another. Unfortunately, those who are not yogis but gross materialists, who throughout their lives indulge in sense gratification, are puzzled by the disarrangement of the bodily and mental condition at the time of death. Such gross sensualists, encumbered by the vain ideas, desires, and associations of the lives they have led, desire something against their interest, and thus foolishly take on new bodies that perpetuate their material miseries.
Thank you. So a lot of times people say, oh, let me do all the sinful activities, let me enjoy my life. Then at the time of death, I'll think of Krishna and I'll go home. Well, it's not so simple because at the time of death, your mind is so disturbed. And if you've been a gross materialist, probably feeling a lot of pain, impending separation from your body and from your relatives. Your mind is very, very disturbed and losing everything accumulated over so many years, so on and so forth. So therefore, the mind cannot think straight. So actually, King Kulshekhar, one of the very famous kings in our scriptures, prayed to the Lord, "My Lord, kill me now, please. Take my life away now, because my mind is in a good shape right now. I can think straight, and I know what my goal is. So please let me leave now, because otherwise, at the time of death, who knows what my mind will be like? It may not be able to think straight. It will be agitated. I may start thinking about something else. So it's very, very important where your mind is going at the time of death. Similarly, Prabhupada talks in many, many places in his purports that we have to train for death. So we have trained ourselves so that our body, our mind is conditioned to think of Krishna at all the times. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So therefore, we become used to anytime there's any kind of danger, first thing we think of Krishna. Anytime there's anything unusual, we think of Krishna. When we're happy, we think of Krishna. When we're sad, we think of Krishna. So then we've trained ourselves to think of Krishna all the time. Then there's no reason to fear, because that means even at the time of death, you remember Krishna. If you remember Krishna, Krishna says you'll come. Nothing to worry. Yeah, Usha, you have a question?
Yes, Prabhu. In the previous paragraph, it says that if you have to go to the transcendental, when one goes to transcendental planets, it's necessary to change both the finer and gross bodies, for one has to reach the spiritual sky completely in a spiritual form. So the finer bodies is mind, intelligence, and soul. When we die, let's say with Krishna consciousness.
No. Finite body is not mind, is a soul. It's a mind, intelligence, false ego. Soul is the passenger.
Soul is subtle, right?
Soul is subtle, but it's the passenger. That's not the dress. Soul is the what you want to go somewhere. The dress is, inner dress is the subtle body, which is your mind, intelligence, false ego. Outer dress is the gross elements, earth, water, air, fire, ether.
Yeah. So the
it is the
subtle
mind.
also, it says the finer and the gross both goes. So
What is
soul
spiritual?
is the subtle. Soul has to go up.
Don't confuse things. You are the person, right? Now you have undergarments and you have outer garments. So there are three things: you, undergarments, and outer garments. Are you with me?
Oh, you is soul.
You is soul. You got it.
Hmm. So, so the dresses goes
This is
accordingly.
correct.
Okay.
Okay, and it goes automatically. You don't have to take it out.
Hmm.
Okay, does it make sense?
But in the two previous paragraph, it says that mind, intelligence, and oh, okay, Prabhu, thank you.
Okay. All right. Next paragraph, please.
Prabhuji, can I read it then?
If nobody wants to read it, yeah.
Okay. Systematic training of the mind and intelligence is therefore needed so that at the time of the death, one may consciously desire a suitable body, either on this planet or another material planet, or even a transcendental planet, a civilization that does not consider the progressive advancement of the immortal soul merely fosters a bestial life of ignorance. Hare
Right.
Krishna.
So any society that doesn't tell you about higher planets and the spiritual world basically is forced to lead the life of animals, totally mode of ignorance. And so therefore, again, it's a choice. This is why the preachers take so much risk to go to all these places. Imagine if Srila Prabhupada had not come to North America, had not gone to the parts of the world, they'd still be in the mode of ignorance. So his devotees like Srila Prabhupada, for the benefit of human beings, they take all the risk to go to all these places so they can get out of their mode of ignorance. They have some understanding of the spiritual world and the spiritual king, or Lord Krishna. Okay. Okay, next paragraph, please.
Prabhuji, I have a question here. Most of the other religions, they just know about hell and heaven, nothing more than that. So the people who following those religions, their scriptures, like what scope of betterment they have, they can hope in for the future, or we can hope for the future.
So in the Christianity, for example, when they say heaven, they actually mean the spiritual world.
Okay.
Our definition of heaven is different from their same thing in Islam. They talk about heaven, they're actually talking about the spiritual world. They have basically talk about two heavens. One heaven where they get the huras, the beautiful girls, but that's still the material world. Then they talk about the heaven where the Lord resides. So they have something, but it's obviously not so clear and obviously not so well explained. Even God is not explained. No other religion describes God the way our religion does. There's no description of God in any other religion. It doesn't say what God looks like. Most of the religions like
Because they don't believe in the personality of Godhead.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, that they don't describe because there's no personality. Even in Christianity, when they say there's a personality, they show an old woman, man with a beard and all that, but that's not really God. Okay,
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you.
next paragraph, please, somebody.
I will read Prabhuji again.
But nobody else wants to read. That's
Prabhuji, I will read the next paragraph. It is foolish to think that every soul that passes away goes to the same place. Either the soul goes to a place he desires at the time of death, or upon leaving his body, he is forced to accept a position according to his acts in his previous life. The difference between the materialist and the yogi is that a materialist cannot determine his next body, whereas a yogi can consciously attain a suitable body for enjoyment in the higher planets. Throughout his life, the gross materialist, who is constantly after sense gratification, spends all day earning his livelihood to maintain his family, and at night he wastes his energy in sex enjoyment or else goes to sleep thinking about all he has done in the daytime. That is the monotonous life of the materialist person. Although differently graded as businessmen, lawyers, politicians, professors, judges, coolies, pickpockets, laborers, and so on. Materialists are simply engaged in eating, sleeping, faring, sense gratification, and thus spoil their valuable lives, pursuing luxury and neglecting to perfect their lives through spiritual realization.
Thank you. So once again, this point we have discussed many times over weeks. It is foolish to think that every soul that passes away goes to the same place. There's so many different destinations. And therefore, so many different places that a soul can go to, depending upon his state of mind at the time of death, depending upon whether he's yogi or not, depending upon what kind of activities he has performed, how he's trained his mind, etc., etc. There's so many. And basically, it's saying the materialist will spend their lifetime trying to enjoy. They're forced to go to some place, depending upon the state of their mind. Yogis can decide where they want to go, but everybody goes somewhere. Okay, next paragraph, please.
I can read.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question here, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, what I'm thinking, when somebody or when we are doing some rituals for the person who has left this body, for the soul or whatever the person is gone, does that rituals help that soul?
My understanding is the answer is yes.
It helps the person.
That's why they do it.
Okay.
Actually, if I could share, Prabhu.
Hmm.
Over the weekend, last weekend, Hari Parshad Prabhu was here.
Who?
And there was a Hari Parshad Prabhu.
Oh, yes.
And there was a discourse about this subject only. And, he was saying how if you have done some bad karmas or you have ancestors that have done some bad karmas and are stuck in the lower planets, there's planets where they don't get any food or they don't get any shoes or they're like, under the sun. So when you do Pitradan and you do all these things, actually whatever you give here goes there. And he even went into more details. He goes, it's done twice a year because our 6 months is their half day. So if you do it twice a year and you offer the food, they can get food for 2 times in 1 day. So it is, in fact, whatever you offer here is given to them and makes that passage in the lower planets easier for them. So until their karmas are burnt off and they're kind of able to elevate, the soul is able to elevate to the higher planets, whatever we do for them actually does go to them.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
But the question is again, another question, how their soul get elevated from those planets to the higher planets?
That's a totally different topic. You're getting off topic.
Okay, Prabhuji, let's forget it. Okay, let's forget. Sorry about that, Prabhuji.
No, that's okay. Okay, next paragraph, please.
Yogis, however, try to perfect their lives, and therefore the Bhagavad Gita enjoins that everyone should become a yogi. Yoga is the system for linking the soul in the service of the Lord. Only under superior guidance can one practice such yoga in his life without changing his social position. As already described, a yogi can go anywhere he desires without mechanical help, for a yogi can place his mind and intelligence within the air circulating inside his body, and by practicing the art of breath control, he can mix that air with the air that blows all over the universe outside his body. With the help of this universal air, a yogi can travel to any planet and get a body suitable for its atmosphere. We can understand this process by comparing it to the electronic transmission of radio messages. With radio transmitters, sound waves produced at a certain station can travel all over the earth in seconds. But sound is produced from the ethereal sky. And as already explained, subtler than the ethereal sky is the mind, and finer than the mind is the intelligence. Spirit is still finer than the intelligence, and by nature it is completely different from matter. Thus, we can just imagine how quickly the spirit soul can travel through the universal atmosphere. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So once again, same point is being made in different way. But just like the signal from a radio station travels across the world, similarly, there are airs that travel across the whole universe. So when the yogi is able to mix the internal air with the external air, the soul residing on that air can travel very, very fast. And the point being made here is that the subtler than gross, mind can go very fast. Intelligence is subtler than mind can go faster. The soul is even more subtle and go really, really fast. Go whatever destination is chosen. And that's it. So just trying to explain how it happens. And that's why in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks the analogy of just like aroma is carried by the air, similarly, the cell body carries the soul to whatever the next destination is. Unless we go to the spiritual world, but there's no subtle body. Next paragraph, please.
I can read, Prabhuji.
Please go ahead, Gayatri.
To come to the stage of manipulating finer elements like mind, intelligence, spirit, one needs appropriate training, an appropriate mode of life, and appropriate association. Such training depends upon sincere prayers, devotional service, achievement of success in mystic perfection, and the successful merging of oneself in the activities of the soul and supersoul. A gross materialist, whether he can be empiric philosopher, a scientist, a psychologist, or whatever, cannot attain such success through blunt efforts and word jugglery.
Right. So once again, it's not easy to be yogi. It's very difficult and it's got a lot of effort because now you're talking about manipulating your mind, your intelligence, and your soul. How do you do that? I mean, I wouldn't even know how to proceed. So the point being made is very, very difficult, and it requires training by qualified people. And it's not done by any mechanical means. It requires prayers, devotional service, mystic perfection, and finally the merging of yourself with the activities of the soul or the super soul. I don't really know what that means, to be honest with you. And that's the only way. There's no mechanical way you can do it. So I'm sorry, I cannot explain to you any better because I don't understand this myself. It is not important, to be honest with you. Point is, you become bhakti yoga and you go. That's all I understand. Okay. So unless you can explain to me better, let's move on to the next paragraph. Okay, next paragraph, please.
No one shall I read.
Go ahead.
Materialist
Prabhu, I have a question. So it says the one can merge.
Sorry?
It says one can merge through the activities of soul and super soul. So isn't it our main what do you call it? The main goal to what is the main position of our soul is to devotion. We are the constitution, our constitution.
Yeah, that's correct.
Our constitution is to serve.
Correct.
And those are the activities of the soul and super soul, isn't it?
I understand that's the service that to the soul, but super soul is not a servant. Super soul isn't served.
Two super soul serving.
Okay, yeah, super soul consists of super soul. They're saying that that's the explanation?
I'm asking you.
No, Prabhu, I told you before, I don't understand this, so I cannot answer it. But I was thinking that you gave me the answer, I was getting happy.
Yeah, I was thinking that our main constitution is to serve, and that is the activities of our.
No, that understand that this activity of soul, that is not the activity of the super soul. So activity of super soul is the supervision, Drishta Anvantata, to sanction and to witness. But what I don't understand is what does it mean to merge in the activity of the soul, which is serving, and super soul, which is observing and witnessing. I'm sorry, I don't know how to explain that. I have no idea.
Okay, Prabhu, no worries. Thank you.
Okay, Mahajan Babu, now you go ahead.
Materialists who perform yajnas or great sacrifices are comparatively better than grosser materialists who do not know anything beyond laboratories and test tubes. The advanced materialists who perform such sacrifices can reach the planet called Vaishnavi, a fairy planet similar to the sun. On this planet, which is situated on the way to Brahmaloka, the topmost planet in the universe, such an advanced materialist can free himself from all traces of vice and its effects. When such a materialist is purified, he can rise to the orbit of the pole star Dhruvaloka. Within this orbit, which is called Sisumara Chakra, are situated the Aditya Loka and the Vaikuntha planet within this universe.
Yeah. So again, it's talking about different stages of materialists. Those who don't do anything, they don't do anything beyond the experiments that they can do in a lab or a test tube. But those who perform sacrifices, they're a little bit better than these people. Okay, and they can reach the planet called Vaishnavi, which is basically something very similar to the sun planet. Prabhupada talks about that in different purpose. Basically, meaning again, you can get to a higher planet, and again, it's a planet is lower than Brahmaloka. Therefore, if you go to Brahmaloka, you pass by this. It's on the way, and if you get there, then yeah, you can get rid of your vices and things like that. But again, you're still in the material world. And then it says, if you become even more pure, then get to the Dhruvaloka. Where is Dhruvaloka? Anybody knows? Where's the Dhruvaloka? No. Does anybody know the position of Dhruvaloka?
Orbit of the pole star.
That's not the answer. That's just different words.
It's still like part of the
Prabhuji,
spiritual world, right?
Sorry?
Go ahead, sorry.
I think, I'm not sure, but it's close to the planet where Lord himself resides.
Yes. It's right at the border of Shvetdweep, where Lord Vishnu is residing on the Milk. So it is part of the spiritual world, which is part of the material world. Where design. Okay, that's what's called Atal. There's no changes. The pole star. Okay, so it's in the spiritual world, which is inside the material. The residence of Lord Vishnu, Shvetdweep or Milk Ocean. Okay.
प्रभु जी पहले बचपन में पढ़ा था ना पोल स्टार
हाँ वही
शास्त्र पढ़े तो पता लगा ध्रुव तारा is like Dhruv Maharaj is ruling that planet. It's amazing to know the secrets of this.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Next paragraph.
So these are, Prabhu, all the planets. Shishumara, Chakra, and Aditya
Some planets have been mentioned because they're all on the way to Brahmaloka, which is the highest.
But they are in the material, still in the material world.
Material world.
Better than Earth.
Oh, totally. But the point was that if you're doing all this hard work, Go to spiritual world. Okay, next paragraph, please.
Can I read,
Can I
Prabhu?
read, Prabhu?
Of course, yeah.
A
Usha, go ahead.
purified materialist who has performed many sacrifices, undergone severe penance, and given the major portion of his wealth in charity can reach such planets as Dwarloka. And if he becomes still more qualified there, he can penetrate still higher orbits and pass through the navel of the universe to reach the planet Maharloka, where sages like Bhrigu Muni live. In Maharloka, one can live even to the time of the partial annihilation of the universe. This annihilation begins when Anantadev, from the lowest position in the universe, produces a great blazing fire. The heat of this fire reaches even Maharloka, and then the residents of Maharloka travel to Brahmaloka, which exists for twice the duration of Parardha time.
Okay, so I'm going to put that slide up again because otherwise I can't explain this. Hold on. Okay, do you see the slide?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
So we are here, Bhuvarloka. Does everybody see that? Sorry, I'm sorry, Bhuloka, I'm sorry. Here, we are here. Everybody sees that?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so above that, there's 6 planets. Bhuvarloka, Swargloka, Mahaloka, Janaloka, Taploka, and Satyaloka without values. Okay, that's the 7 upper planets. So when there's night of Brahma, this fire that comes out of the mouth of Anantashesh, and then burns Bhuloka completely, Bhuvaloka completely, and Swargloka completely. It's all finished. Only these top 4 are left when the night of Brahma comes. Okay? And in some circumstances, even Mahaloka is finished, people move to the higher lokas, Janloka, Taploka, and Satyaloka. Okay? So that's what basically being explained here, that you can live here until the partial devastation happens. And then it's all gone, and only 3 planets are left. But when the full apocalypse happens, end of the life of Brahma, then this is all gone. Everything is gone. There's no material universe left. Okay? Everybody with me?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So that was that. Next paragraph.
Prabhuji, I have a question, sorry.
Bolo.
So they talk about Bhrigu Muni, and then like the munis that are leaders of the Daityas and the Rakshasas. We hear about them as great sages, but they're also like die. They're not like great devotees.
Say again?
They also like their bodies also die, and they go into. They're not like pure devotees. These great sages, they live in the material world.
Pure devotees die too, so I don't understand the question.
No, I guess what I meant to say is they die and they go back and they're reborn.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I still don't understand the question. What's your question?
My question is, these great sages,
okay,
I thought they were pure devotees, and when they pass, when Pralay comes, they go back to Goloka or the Vaikuntha planets. But it sounds like they don't.
Well, so first of all, they're not pure devotees. Not all of them are pure devotees. Second of all, even when they die, yeah, the soul goes to them, but they die. Everybody in the material dies. Even Brahma dies.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I don't understand your question.
I guess I just thought that they were pure devotees and then they ceased to
Even if they
exist
are, even if they are,
after.
even if they are, they still die.
Yes, it's not the part of the death. I guess I'm not saying it properly. That their soul actually goes to the transcendental planets. It doesn't come down.
I think your question may be, which talks about they move to the higher planet where this devastation happened. But they're still not dead. They just moved, physically moved with their gross body, subtle body, everything. They moved to the higher planet, to the state. So
Okay.
they transcend the night of Brahma. So they have lifespans higher or longer than night of Brahma. So that part is true. They're not dead at that time. Yes, correct. But eventually they die. Even Brahma dies.
Yes, yes, that is true.
Uh, uh, no, I think her question was that don't they go directly to Vaikuntha, Krishna Loka, rather than the sage Loka?
But the point is they still die.
Yes, of course they die, but their soul, don't they that go to the Brahma,
No, so they're not
the
pure
Vaikuntha?
devotees. No, they're not pure devotees. Some
Okay.
may be. Those who are, yes, they will go. So, for example, Brahma will go to spiritual planet, but not everybody living there is pure devotee. But remember, pure devotees don't get upgraded to the higher planets. Just remember that. Pure devotees don't go through all this. They go straight to Vaikuntha or Krishna.
They directly goes.
Yeah.
They directly go,
Yeah,
not
they
step
don't go
by
through
step.
this. Yeah. People living there are not pure devotees. Some may be like Brahma is, but generally speaking, they're not. They're yogis.
I think that was what I was having a hard time. That why would they go up to these
They
higher
are pure
planets?
devotees. That's what we kept saying.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, they're not pure devotees. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense.
Okay, good.
Narad Muni, Prabhu, Narad Muni,
He's not living on any of those planets.
he's already on transcendental level, right?
That's correct. He's not. He doesn't have anything to do with these planets. Yeah, he travels to them. Yeah, he travels, preaches, and all that, but he's not a resident.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, next paragraph, please.
I can read.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
In Brahmaloka, there is an unlimited number of airplanes that are controlled not by yantra, machine, but by mantra, psychic action. Because of the existence of the mind and intelligence on Brahmaloka, its residents have feelings of happiness and distress. But there is no cause of lamentation from old age, death, fear or distress. They feel sympathy, however, for the suffering living beings who are consumed in the fire of annihilation. The residents of Brahmaloka do not have gross material bodies to change at death, but they transform their subtle bodies into spiritual bodies and thus enter the spiritual sky. The residents of Brahmaloka can attain perfection in three different ways. Virtuous persons who reach Brahmaloka by dint of their pious work become masters of various planets after the resurrection of Brahma. Those who have worshipped Garbhodakshay Vishnu are liberated with Brahma, and those who are pure devotees of the personality of Godhead at once push through the covering of the universe and enter the spiritual sky. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So actually, this is a partial answer to what Gayatri was asking. Different upon who they are. So some are actually becoming masters of other planets. Therefore, there's no entry in the spiritual world for them because they got there, by pious activities, which is not devotion. So they get in the reward. Those who were actually became devotees of Lord Garbhodakshay Vishnu, so upon leaving their body, they go wherever Brahma is going. And those who are pure devotees of the God, they go straight to the spiritual sky. That's what we were discussing. Gayatri, does that make it any clearer for you?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, great. Okay, let's do the next one.
Can I read, Prabhu?
Please, Mataji, go ahead.
Yeah. the numberless universes exist together in form like cluster, and so only some of them are sounded by the water of the Caspian Ocean when agitated by the glance of Karnadakshaya Vishnu. Material nature produces the total elements, which are 8 in number and which gradually evolves from finer to gross. A part of ego is the sky, a part of which is air, a part of which is fire, a part of which is water, part of which is earth. Thus, one universe inflates to an area of 4 billion miles in diameter. A yogi who desires gradual liberation must penetrate all the different coverings of the universe, including the subtle covering of the 3 qualities modes of material nature. One who does this never has to return to this mortal world. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mother. So I'm going to put that slide again. Okay, so now it's talking about, we go above all this, the different layers. So you see here, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. Do you see that? Everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, so these are the layers they're talking about, the coverings. Okay, finer to gross. So, oh, I'm sorry, what happened? Oh, there you go. Okay, so fineness is false ego, less fineness intelligence, less fineness mind, ether, air, fire, etc. etc. Okay, so it's going finer to subtler. I'm sorry, finer to grosser. Earth is the most gross. Okay, these are the 8 elements. Verse chapter 7, text 4. What does Krishna say? Bhumi rapo anula vai khamana buddhirevcha ahankar ityame ashta
Bhinna Prakriti Ashtadha.
Vrinda Prakriti Ashta. Thank you. So these are the 8 he's talking about. These 8. Okay, these are the 8 layers. And these are his Bhinna Prakriti means they're the material energy. Okay, external potency produces these layers. Each layer is 10 times more, so this keeps on going. But a yogi is trying to go beyond this, is go through all these layers. Finally, it's in the causal ocean, goes beyond that to the Brahman effulgence, beyond that to the spiritual world, Vaikuntha, beyond that to Krishna Loka. Those are all the layers of bhakti, pure beauty it has to go through to get to Krishna Loka. So obviously it's not easy. And then in a different class, we can talk about how there are gods guarding the entrance to the Goloka, Krishna Loka, and pointing in 10 different directions. The arrows come and shoot you if you're not qualified, and fall back to the material world. Anyway, my point is, it's not easy. So you have to go through all these layers for you. But a pure devotee is very easy. Somebody comes and takes it straight to Krishna Loka. Okay. It also points out that our universe is smallest is 4 billion miles. You can imagine what the rest of it is. Okay. All right. Next paragraph.
I have a question, Prabhu.
Okay, go ahead.
In this picture, what you are were sharing, in the bottom it was saying the earth, where we are.
No,
and
no,
then
no,
again it was on the top is.
Stop you. Let me stop you.
Okay,
That
okay.
earth is the subtle air, subtle layer. That's not the earth that you live on. That's the 14 planetary system. So let me put the slide again.
Yes, please.
Okay. Earth is here.
Yes, exactly.
But that earth is not same as this earth.
Oh,
Okay, this is the planet you live on. That's the layer, the 8 layers, Vrinda Prakriti Yasura. Okay? So very different. These are layers. These are subtle elements. These are all subtle. This is gross. Okay, does that make it any clearer, or does it make it clear as mud? Umshaji?
Prabhu, I don't know.
Okay, you give up.
No, I didn't. I will read maybe more.
Okay. We have the slides. You can study this.
So how there are 2 earths then?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's the same name, but nothing. This is no, it's not the earth you think of. The earth you think of is here. And I mean, in this one, this very small planet called Earth, this is called planetary system, Bhulok, Earth planetary system. But that's not the whole Earth. Very tiny fraction of this Earth planet to live on.
I think this earth is an element. It's not.
That is element here. That's the element. This is the planet.
5 elements.
That's the final element. This is a planetary
So,
system.
and we are here at Bhuloka, right?
Here, yeah, correct. Very small portion of it. Because remember, even things like Jupiter, Mars, Sun, and all that, that's all part of Earth planet. Okay?
Ji.
So don't get hung up on this. Just
Okay.
get
Move on. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Next paragraph.
You can read, Prabhu.
I'm sorry? Go ahead, please.
According to Sukadeva Goswami, the above description of the material and spiritual skies is neither imaginary nor utopian. The actual facts are recorded in the Vedic hymns. The Lord Vasudeva disclosed them to Lord Brahma when Brahma satisfied him. One can achieve the perfection of life only when he has a definite idea of Vaikuntha and the Supreme Godhead. One should always think about and describe the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for this is recommended in both Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavata Purana, which are 2 authorized commentaries upon the Vedas. Lord Chaitanya has made all these subject matters easier for the fallen people of this age to accept, and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita has therefore presented them for the easy understanding of all concerned. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, bro. So actually, talking about the last line, when Lord Krishna told Brahma, what method did he use to tell Brahma? What method did Lord Krishna use to tell Brahma about all this?
Through flute, Prabhuji.
Sorry?
Through flute.
Yeah,
Vibration.
like the flute. Tene Brahma Adkavya. So God in his heart, he understood everything. Then he explained it to Narad Muni. Narad Muni explained it to Vyasdev, who wrote all these books. And then he said, I can't understand, nobody will understand this. So other acharyas came, like Krishnadas Kaviraj. So Lord Chaitanya came, and then he explained it, and then Krishnadas Kaviraj further explained it. And then Prabhupada said, you won't even understand that. So let me write the purpose. Srila Prabhupada wrote purpose. And that's how we are able to understand something. A very tiny portion of the whole thing. Lord Chaitanya told Rupa Goswami, I've given you a drop of this whole subject matter called bhakti. So Rupa Goswami took the whole drop, that drop, wrote at what you call an ocean. And then we're trying to understand a drop of that ocean. So drop of a drop of a drop of a drop. We try to understand with some difficulty. So it's not easy topic. But we can just get the gist of it, get a feel for how vast, how complicated, how complex it is, and appreciate the potency of the Lord from that. That's all we need to do. Otherwise, it's so confusing. So nice to read once, let's a feel for it, but don't worry about it if you can't understand it. It's not necessary. And that's why I'm not taking any exams in this class. We don't have to write the structure of the universe. What's the planet number 5? I'm not doing anything.
We are all well. Spread the Veli Velu.
What's the name of the third Purusha avatar? I'm not doing any of that, don't worry. But just get a feel for it. Okay. All right, so we're going to stop here. Any further questions or comments?
Just with the last thing that you just said, Prabhuji.
Sorry?
Just the last things that you were just talking about. That means that if it's just a drop that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu provided to Rupa Goswami, then he provided the essence, and that essence is in the Shistaskatam, right?
Yeah.
So if we can just kind of follow that, then we would become, pure, hopefully.
Yeah, that's right. There's a drop will purify us. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
If you look at all the prayers of pure devotees, what is it? Give me Shraddha Bindu, give me Kripa Bindu. The one drop of that. So nobody's asking for the nectar. We can't handle it. Right? But we can't even handle that drop. So we have long ways to go, but that's okay. That's okay. At least we're going in the right direction. It's available to us. One day we'll be ready if we keep trying. Right?
I just want to thank you, Prabhuji, because this is such an opportunity. And this is not an easy task that you have kind of assigned yourself to. But it's really, really appreciated. And thank you for walking us through this.
Well, thank you very much. But you should also know that I don't understand the whole thing. It's very little that I understand. Thanks to my mom. It's very
What
little.
to say about us, Prabhuji?
You basically you're dependent on the teachers. You have lousy teachers here. Difficulty understanding. It's not an easy topic. Any other questions or comments? Okay.
Prabhuji, I just want to thank you for your patience because you've explained everything so many millions of times and still we go back and think that, oh, we didn't get it. You're so patient with us. Thank you. Really, really appreciate it.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great patience.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, thank you so much, Prabhu. That's so true. So true.
Thank you, Usha. Okay. Mancha kalpatarubhishya kapa. Thank you. I'll Vijay Mata, you can call me now, okay?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Prabhu. Hare
you.
Krishna,
Thank
Prabhu.
you,
Everyone.
everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mother. Hare Krishna.
Amen.